Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to another edition of the dceu Daily. Remember, you can tag me and follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, where we have lots of fun, making fun of everyone, making fun of ourselves. I retweet all the big news in the DC universe that's going on and in entertainment. So you will enjoy the experience of following me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And before we begin today, I just want to try and show you my gratitude for your support. 60, 70 to 100 views coming in to my dceu daily since I've started being consistent with the times I'm uploading them. And for you, seeing 9, 10, 12, 15 likes may not be a lot, but those likes are very much appreciated, and it helps the videos get seen on the YouTube algorithm as well. So I'm very, very grateful to all of you. So it's reached my attention that Zack Snyder did pitch a BVS prequel comics with him showing Jared Leto's Joker killing Dick Grayson's Robin. And apparently DC turned this down. I don't want you to worry about things like that. I'm very, very relaxed about that, and so should you be. Because from March the 18th onwards, Zack Snyder can run for president and we'd get him in. Everything's going to change on March the 18th. Now, as disappointing as this is, I'm more of a live action man than a comic book man. I love the comics there. That's where these characters originally stem from. I love them. I've read graphic novels and I've enjoyed them. I've got about 20, 30 different graphic novels put away here in my room. But I'm all about the live action, and that's what I'm focused on, and that's what you should be focused on. I don't want a situation where Zack's going to give us comic books instead of live action because they won't give him anything else. Now, we've proven as a fan base that Zack Snyder's DC universe is a viable concern and can make these people a lot of money. But these people are not going to make any decisions until the release and thereafter of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut on March the 18th. And what they're going to do then, they're going to look at the different demographics. They're going to see what people are saying about this movie before they make any decision. Don't forget, we had that event in November of 2019 and nothing was announced. What, till May? Was it March? May? I can't even remember now. But there was about 5 or 6 months gap, wasn't there, between that event and the announcement of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut being on HBO Max. So these people take their time. Even Zack said, even if there is going to be more, don't expect anything straight away. These people will sit down in the boardroom, they will discuss it, but I am very, very confident after the views and the subs and the word of mouth and buzz about Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, we are going to get more of everything, including whatever comic books Zack wants to put out there. Zack is fighting for this thing. We are fighting for this thing alongside him. I am confident. You should be confident. Nothing should faze you, whether you see, don't worry about haters and what they're saying, because we know their narratives are bullshit anyway. Believe you me. You can criticize everything. Everything has a negative side. If I really want to pull apart Zack's movies, I can. But I can pull apart anyone's movies. But that's not what I do. I enjoy storytelling. I enjoy movies. And I like the way Zack's done this. I love Man of Steel and I love BVS. And we can pull anything to pieces if we want. But why would you want to? I'm more glass half full than half empty. So I'm very confident that the Snyderverse will be restored. Now, there's another kind of more worrying situation here. It's that we're not all going to be able to see Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut globally at the same time. It looks like HBO Max have underestimated how popular and important this thing was going to be, and it doesn't look like they've done their due diligence. Now, people like Fiona and RT Snyder Cut are putting the pressure on, and they're even going to broadcasters around the world. Now, I live in Cyprus. Now, Cyprus is in Europe, pretty much near the Middle East. It's probably about 3 hours, is it 2 hours or an hour away from Greece, a couple of hours away from Turkey. And so that's kind of where I am here in the world. And I know that HBO Max is not going to be available. Bloody hell, Disney Plus is still not available here. And it's available pretty much all over the world. It's pretty crappy. It's pretty shitty business. Of course, this would have been to their advantage. The problem with streaming services is all these copyright laws and properties. This is what you've got to get ironed out to make these things go global. It's very, very messy. That's why Netflix was only available in America for so many years. But Netflix, what happened with Netflix, they were having so many problems with people using VPNs. It's very difficult to use VPNs on Netflix now because it doesn't matter anymore because you've got access all around the world. And it's not like the old days where if you've got a series in America, I don't have it here in Cyprus. It's still like that a bit. And so it's very, very complex. I'm not going to hate on Warner Media or HBO Max or AT&T. They greenlit the thing. I mean, we're very grateful to them. Of course we are. But of course it's very unfair. Now, I know I'm going to find a way to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut on the 18th of March. I know the avenues I'm going to pursue to get that. And if I can't watch it properly, I will watch it any way I can get it. And I'm sorry about that. And what's that doing? That's hurting what we want to do here, where we want to get this to be so successful. But if I could watch it on HBO Max like you lot in America, of course I would. But if I can't, I'm going to see this thing because I helped fight for this thing in terms of raising awareness for suicide prevention, in terms of raising awareness of what Johns and Sujihara and everybody else did to Zach, and so I have the right as well as you lot in America. So someone made a great point on Twitter. Some people are really fighting to make sure the whole Snyderverse family can see it, and some just don't care as long as they can. Well, you're always going to get those selfish people in life, but I do appreciate you fighting for me to see it. Now, if you trust me, and if you trust anyone out there, share your HBO Max account. Ultimately, let me give you an example here. If you're in America and you gave me your password, what you could do is, before you give me that password, change the password to something you don't use on your more important things, right? Say if you don't trust me. So use a password you would never use, unconnected to anything else you use, and then after Zack Snyder's Justice League, you can change it back to your original password, and no one's got access to anything. I know it's a dodgy thing to do, it's a very risky thing to do, to give your password away. All I can say to you is, if you did that for me, I would very, very much appreciate that. I really would. I mean, all I could really do is give you a shout out on this channel and on my Twitter feed. I know I'm not a big deal or anything special. Nobody looks up to me or anything. But if someone in America could give me access to HBO Max for a time, that would be absolutely fantastic. And as I say, change your password to something you wouldn't use anything else on. And there's nothing I can do to your HBO Max account, basically. Do they do profiles on there? I'm not sure. But yeah, so look, no hard feelings if you don't want to do that. But if someone does want to share their HBO Max account, now I do have a VPN. It's called Unlocator. I don't even know if that VPN is going to work. But if you could let me use your password just so I can see if it works or not, that would be handy as well. But I would absolutely appreciate any help. In terms of the future of the Snyderverse, I'm very confident that in March the 18th, this will be one of the most successful streaming events of all time. And I believe it's going to give Falcon and the Winter Soldier a lot of problems as well. I have a lot of time for Harry Lennox. From the first time I saw him as General Swanwick in Man of Steel, I just loved his demeanour as the character, his rapport with Cavill and the rest of the characters. I thought he played a really good role in the film. And, I mean, he always knew, apparently, he was going to be playing Martian Manhunter. Well, there's been an interview here on Variety by Adam B. Vary, Zack Snyder's Justice League actor Harry Lennox, on playing Martian Manhunter and the Joss Whedon scandal. This should be interesting. I haven't read this yet, by the way. Let's read it together. When Harry Lennox first signed up to appear in Zack Snyder's 2013 Superman film, Man of Steel, he thought he was playing General Swanwick. Oh, he didn't know then. The US military primary point of contact with Henry Cavill's Kryptonian superhero. In Snyder's follow-up 2016's Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, Lennox returned as Swanwick, who'd been promoted to Secretary of Defense. It wasn't until October 2019, however, that Lennox learned Snyder's real intention was to reveal in 2017's Justice League that Swanwick was actually J'onn J'onzz, aka the fan favourite DC superhero and eventual Justice League member, known as the Martian Manhunter. In the comics, J'onn is the last surviving member of his species. His abilities to change his appearance, normally he's green, bald, and he's got red eyes, have allowed him to live as a human on Earth. He's from Mars. They don't say that there. I don't know if they say it down the road in this article, but he's from Mars, J'onn J'onzz. In a series of social media posts, Snyder revealed storyboards for a scene between Martha Kent, Diane Lane, and Lois Lane, Amy Adams, that ended with Martha transforming into J'onn and then into Swanwick. I was able to shoot all of it except for the Harry Lennox side, Snyder wrote. It was my intention to do that in LA. That shoot, of course, never materialised. Snyder left Justice League in the spring of 2017 and was replaced by Joss Whedon, and much of Snyder's vision for the film, including Martian Manhunter, was cut out. After a massive grassroots campaign to release the Snyder Cut, however, Warner Media announced last May, that Snyder was reconstructing his version of the movie into a 4-hour epic. Over the summer, Lennox finally was able to shoot his side of Martian Manhunter's introduction using motion capture to embody J'onn's massive green frame. It's the first time Martian Manhunter will appear in a live-action feature. David Harewood plays the role in the CW series Supergirl, and with Zack Snyder's Justice League finally set for release on HBO Max on March the 18th, Variety reached out to Lennox to ask him about his unusual journey to the role. Lennox is a busy guy. He's currently shooting the 8th season of NBC's The Blacklist, and in December he announced plans to create the Lillian Marcy Center, an African-American museum of the performing arts, that's cool, in the south side of Chicago. He's worked over 30 years as an actor. He's set to voice a role in Snyder's upcoming animated Netflix series Army of the Dead, Las Vegas, including 2 seasons on Whedon's 2009-2010 Fox TV series Dollhouse. So he's worked for Whedon before. This will be interesting. So when Variety asked the 56-year-old to comment on the allegations by Ray Fisher that Whedon engaged in abusive and unprofessional behaviour while working on Justice League, Lennox had a few things to say. Did you first learn that Zack Snyder wanted to make Swanwick become Martian Manhunter when he posted that storyboard of the character in October 2019? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I found out. I don't think there was any sort of advanced word. There are a lot of people who intuited it somehow, like fans bouncing the idea around. So I don't know if somebody knew about it outside of Zack before that, but I did not know until I saw that storyboard. So Zack didn't give you any indication before he dropped that news. No, he did not. From time to time, Zack will text me things or email me things. I've certainly done projects with him, such as Army of the Dead, and I knew that was coming, but he likes to surprise me, and I think I'm not unique in that way. But there was no time that I could have found out about it that would have been a happier time. After he dropped that news, did he call you to say, oi, hey, by the way, I was going to do this? No, the next call that I had from Zack was, hey, when can you come in and shoot? So that was great. I found out that it was a possibility, or at least that Martian Manhunter was going to be in it. When he revealed through the storyboard that Martha Kent is coming by visiting Lois, and then after she leaves, she reveals herself to be, in fact, Calvin Swanwick, or the Martian Manhunter. That's how I knew about it. There's a moment in Man of Steel where Swanwick asks Superman why he won't reveal his identity as an alien. That now feels very pointed in a way that obviously you hadn't intended. Yeah, that's true. I think to some extent that is what has sort of started the speculation about Martian Manhunter, that Swanwick didn't shrink away after Superman rather nonchalantly takes his handcuffs off and walks up to the window. This is now getting on to about 9 years ago that we shot that scene. I think I asked Zack that question. Am I going to shrink back here because I'm a general? I've obviously faced danger. And he said, no, in fact, you stand your ground. Maybe even you move forward a little. Perhaps that's what got the wheels turning. That at least gave the suggestion that that might be a plausible reveal. How much did you know about the character of Martian Manhunter before this became a thing? Not much at all. I only knew that there was such a character. I'd heard through the fans of the DCEU that there were a couple of members of the Justice League that were not represented in the movie, and vaguely that one of those people was Martian Manhunter, John Jones. I didn't know much about him at all. How much do you think that he's going to be in the movie? I don't know what's going to be left on the floor, if any, but I didn't shoot an inordinate amount. My work is not central, as it were, to the movie. It may be a plot point, but I don't think you'll start talking about that character more than, say, Superman. You said elsewhere that you would love for there to be a Martian Manhunter movie. Have you heard anything from Warner Brothers on that front? Not one thing. I haven't heard anything move that needle toward an actuality, but why not? The reason there's a Snyder Cut is because that was replaced by Joss Whedon on the movie. As you know, Ray Fisher has alleged that Joss Whedon engaged in misconduct during the shoot. You worked with Joss on 2 seasons of Dollhouse, so I wanted to ask if you had any thoughts on the matter. I wasn't there during the time in question. I'm sorry that anybody had to experience what it was that was described. Obviously, there's one side of the story that we've heard. I don't know that Joss has made any comments. As you point out, I worked with Joss fairly closely for a couple of years there. I didn't see that behaviour. And at the same time, as an actor, my heart goes out to anybody that had to endure that kind of treatment. We get treated as a second-class citizens frequently, very true. But I did not see it, and I would be curious as to what Joss' response to this has been. I just hope everybody can move on with their lives, to be honest with you. As a former seminarian, as somebody who has made mistakes, I've been on either side of that equation. Directors sometimes are insensitive to the needs or the feelings of actors, and sometimes actors are needy, and sometimes they are oversensitive. I know I can be. So that said, I hope whatever it was that happened, that people could move on, and outside of some unforgivable thing, that people can forgive, not just each other, but forgive themselves, to say, look, I may have made this mistake in the past. Now I know better, and I'm going to do better. This was a different time. What was tolerable 5 years ago, a year ago, is no longer. We have to adapt to that. I think there's some of that going on. That this generational in some way. I know that Ray has it in himself to be better because of this, to be stronger, to have survived it. And I also hope that Joss can too, that he can survive it, be the writer and creator that he is, and we can all be better because of it. You're looking at this with more empathy than I would say many observers have in light of what Ray has alleged and what actors on Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer alleged about Joss on Wednesday. Were your experiences with Joss purely professional? Yes, utterly professional. I didn't see any of that kind of behaviour that I'm hearing about, but I'm in a different place. That kind of thing is not likely to happen to me just because I'm a big black guy from the south side. I love it, of Chicago. That people are a little bit more circumspect in how they might think about treating me or talking to me. I think maybe we should give Joss another chance to respond, to see what his side of the story is. Story is not minimising anybody's story, not minimising the experiences others had in any way. But I believe we must learn to reconcile and we must learn to move on. We wouldn't be able to take this into account per se, not really. What I've learned over the years is that two people could be telling the absolute truth from their point of view and disagree on what those salient points are. Whatever those salient points are, I think that everything that I have heard so far, and that's not everything, is recoverable. And so to the extent that it's recoverable, let's recover from it and keep moving. Excuse me. Joss hasn't commented. Ray hasn't gone public with almost any detail about what he says happened on Justice League. And Warner Media hasn't revealed what the company learned in its investigation. So figuring out how to move forward is complicated in the absence of detail. That's the journalist asking Harry. I agree 100%. What I've been able to glean from the stories and the back and forth, such as it is, mostly the fourth, is that nasty things were said, meaning sensitive things were said and made certain people uncomfortable. That's certainly something I'm familiar with. Actors having to endure, indeed. That's part of the process. People say no to us for any number of reasons, or tell us to lose weight or gain it, or get taller or shorter or younger. That's just the nature of the business. It's a personal business. I'm of the opinion that this is entirely fixable and that really what needs to happen is a dialogue. I mean, the old standard in American jurisprudence is you have a right to face your accuser and to respond. I think that people have the right to present both sides of the case. In fact, it's not just a right. I think it's an obligation. I wonder what's going to happen. Wow. Well, Harry Lennox doesn't mess about. Harry Lennox talks about forgiveness. He talks about hearing both sides of the story. And he talks about forgiveness. Now, this is very interesting before I talk about what he said about John Jones and Martian Manhunter, because I do think it's interesting what he said. I kind of agree with him. We wasn't there. He wasn't there. I don't know what happened. There's been alleged accusations of Gal Gadot being locked in a room until she was willing to lay on top of Ezra Miller. Now, if that's true, it will be very hard for Gal to forgive that. But as Harry says, and it's difficult because if these people endured this stuff, then they're going to be hurt and they don't care about Whedon's side of the story. They just want the truth to come out and they want the truth to come out and they just want justice. But I do understand what Harry's saying. If Joss is willing to come out and say his piece and be honest and say, listen, what I did was absolutely wrong. And I deserve to take some time out from the industry. I don't deserve the privileges of being involved in the industry. I'm going to give myself some kind of a suspension for maybe a year or so or whatever. And I apologize to everyone. And, if there's a charity they want me to donate to or anything, I was wrong. I was wrong to behave that way. I was wrong to allegedly disrespect Zack Snyder and his vision. I was wrong. But it could be another thing as well. Joss Whedon was asked to do an impossible gig. Come in, direct a bunch of people and work with a bunch of people who were absolutely madly in love with Zack and didn't want to work with anyone else. And Joss didn't cast these people and they wouldn't have been his choice. And the story and the direction wouldn't have been his choice. This is the problem. But no matter what the situation is or how directors in Hollywood, I know how I treat actors as a director and how I talk to directors as an actor. And I've always tried to be respectful, but we have arguments, whether you're a director and you're getting frustrated with an actor or an actor getting frustrated with a director, so the sets are very heated. Forget what you see in your bonus features on your Blu-rays. And so whatever's happened, in the end of the day, everyone's come out. So everyone can't be lying. The Angel actors, the Buffy actors, the Justice League people. So Joss did these things. So either he keeps quiet and he lets it all go over like they normally do in Hollywood, or he can stand up. Of course, I believe Ray Fisher. I'm happy he got the investigation, and I'm happy he's got some seminal amount of justice. I also understand what Harry's trying to say. He's clearly worked with Joss. He clearly likes Joss. He hasn't, like a lot of people, he hasn't got anything negative to say about Joss. He talks about moving on. He talks about forgiveness. And I think that's because he likes Joss Whedon. I think he hasn't tried to diminish anyone or diminish Ray. He's just spoken from his point of view and his objectives. So that's great. Now, Harry speaks about Martian Manhunter and John Jones. He was not aware of this while shooting Man of Steel. He wasn't even aware of this during BVS. This is interesting. And that poses the question, when did Zack know he was going to do this? Was he always aware of this? I think he was. Or did it come to him in BVS? Or did he just, was he trying to fix the light in the toilet like Doc Brown in Back to the Future, bashed his head and he invented the flex capacitor? Who knows with Zack? Very random guy, but a great guy, very creative, very inventive. And having this guy as Martian Manhunter is a great idea. Unfortunately, we're not going to see much of him, but anything we see of Harry is absolutely going to be awesome. Great interview. Justice League, Zack Snyder explains Superman's black suit in his new director's cut. Posted by Corbin Shankling. So let's have a look at this. Zack Snyder's Justice League will feature Superman's iconic black suit, and the director has recently shared some information regarding the suit's purpose in the film. March 18th is a day that means a great deal to a great number of people who would have thought that we would be sitting here 1 month to the day away from watching the 4-hour-long R-rated DC epic that is Zack Snyder's Justice League. We were told time and time again that the story would never come, both by certain fans, news outlets, and even Warner Brothers themselves. But the advocates of Release the Snyder Cut persevered and yelled at the corporate fools who had taken Snyder's original vision for Justice League and twisted it into something barely recognisable. Eventually their work paid off and Snyder's film is nearly here. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So we continue. While I'm excited for numerous characters in this film, I am particularly looking forward to Superman's return. I am not Clark Kent's #1 fan, but I do like the character as a kid. The animated movie Superman Doomsday absolutely melted my child face off. Watching Superman die in his battle with the Kryptonian abomination was wonderfully traumatic. After all hope was lost and Clark Kent was in the dirt, he returned in a shiny new black suit and saved the day. Zack Snyder's Justice League will feature black suit Superman. In the source material, this suit is for recovery and is generally only used when Superman's exceedingly weak. The black suit provides some degrees of protection and increase the strength of the solar rays beaming down on the hero of Metropolis. In Zack Snyder's Justice League, however, it seems that the black suit will serve a different purpose. Why am I not surprised, Zack? Let's have a look. It's interesting also, too, because like you know, the black suit, because you can say in modern Krypton, when he left, everyone was wearing black suits. Mostly you know, so it's sort of linked to, in some ways, to the old world. I think it's a more direct relationship to his family. So by wearing this costume in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, Clark Kent, Kal-El, aka Superman, is embracing his Kryptonian side and maybe rejecting his humanity. Now, that's something that makes me even more excited to see this film. That's an even more awesome reason to wear it and very compelling. Typical Zack Snyder, typical Terrio, and I like that. Continuing on, Zack Snyder's explain the more thematic elements of the black suit and the classic red suit. The blue suit is his suit of hero, the suit of his destiny, where like the black suit is his more personal in a lot of ways. One is outward and one is inward. And I think that those things are the expression of that. Let's put it this way. It was always my intention that the larger arc of the movies was to realise that more completely. But I think you get a sense of it here. Zack Snyder speaking with iMinutman. Now, before we go on, actually, this is very interesting because Zack's all about doing this kind of thing. But you know another live-action Superman iteration that had Clark wearing black? Smallville in Season 9 and most of Season 10. So he's got this kind of neo trench coat. He's got this black like T-shirt with the S kind of painted on. And he's going around in the shadows saving people. This is a precursory of him becoming Superman and putting the red and blue costume on in the series finale of Smallville. That's very interesting. And again, he's embracing his Kryptonian side in Smallville Season 9. And I'm really interested and excited that Zack's actually spoken about this. It's actually better to do this than even worry about him just wearing it to get better. Some people may be pissed off because he's not embracing and accurately adapting the comics, but who gives a shit? I find it quite fascinating that Snyder never mentions the healing purposes generally associated with the black suit. Will Superman be reborn in a manner similar to his revival? In Justice League, does the black suit only serve thematic and personal purposes in Zack Snyder's Justice League? If so, this would be yet another example of Snyder cherry-picking elements from classic DC stories, altering them and making them his own. Look at Doomsday. The Beast in Dawn of Justice is a Kryptonian abomination, yeah, but otherwise it shares basically nothing in common with the Doomsday of the death of Superman. Again, it's originality. Zack Snyder's Justice League releases on March 18th, as we know. While we may not know what practical use, if any, the black suit has until next month, Zack Snyder's previously revealed another reason that he chose to include that costume. I also feel like the black suit. It's a great time delineator. If you see a flashback or a flash forward with him in a black suit, lets you know where you are in time because it's very particular to this certain art. Zack Snyder speaking with Comic Book Debate. It's unfortunate that this story will almost certainly never be seen to conclusion. Zack Snyder confirmed that DC opted not to move forward with Batman v Superman prequel comic that would have featured Batman, Joker, Robin. Furthermore, Warner Brothers is not interested in a sequel, and Zack Snyder is not planning for a sequel. March 18th will be a glorious day, but it certainly seems to be the end of the road. Where are we? Anything else? No. Right, so let's talk about that. I spoke about this on the top of the show. Don't worry about the prequel comic. Don't worry about Zack saying nothing's been greenlit from now. As I said, these companies are notorious for waiting and seeing how these things sell, how different demographics, as I've already said to you, are responding to this. But I promise you, this is going to hit big. And when it does, from the day of the launch, there will be many things greenlit. But you may have to wait another 5, 6, 12 months to find out about it. So all's good. Don't worry about it. Do you know what? I love the Illuminati. They're a very new site and they get exclusives and they have information. But I really don't like your site. I like Screen Rant. There's too many pop-ups here. And I know you need to pay the sailor and everything, but it's very frustrating. So anyway, let's try and navigate another article from the Illuminati, who are doing a great job with lots of information for DC fans. Gotham PD, 2 lead characters joining HBO Max's thrilling new crime drama exclusive. Posted by Richard Nebbins. The Illuminati has new details for the upcoming Batman spin-off series Gotham PD coming to HBO Max. The DC Extended Universe is about to make its first jump into the world of streaming shows after 9 feature films released since 2013 to 2021. Will hold the debut for the franchise's 10th full-length movie in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. And starting next year, HBO Max will be housing the premieres for spin-off series like Peacemaker. Another of these HBO Max series is the untitled Gotham PD series, which will tie in directly to the events of 2022's The Batman. There isn't much information known yet about this show, but it will be directed by the Batman director Matt Reeves as he expands on his new version of Gotham City within the DCEU. Right, we pretty much know. Is it part of the DCEU? I mean, look, we've already been told, the Batman and Gotham PD is Earth 2. So I suppose it's still part of the DCEU because of the multiverse strategy and how everything's going to open up and we'll be able to cross from realities and Earths to Earth. So, yes, I suppose in that sense it's still part of the same universe because it's all going to be one universe anyway with different multiverses. While there hasn't been a great deal of news about this show yet, that's about to change. We at the Illuminati have some new information about the upcoming HBO Max series, and we're excited to share with you what we know. The Gotham City PD series is currently looking for its 2 lead characters, both of whom we have descriptions for. The lead female character is black, 35 to 45 years old, and a former detective who becomes the new Gotham District Attorney. The male lead is 30 to 40-year-old white police detective who works for Commissioner James Gordon. I bet you $1 billion the white guy is going to be a corrupt arsehole. You just know it, don't you, anyway? We also know that the show is confirmed to tie directly into Matt Reeves' The Batman and will begin shooting in summer 2021. Looking at who the 2 leads may be, the most likely guesses are Marcus Driver and Janice Porter from Gotham Central. Both characters have a rich history in the Cape Crusaders comic run and should be interesting heroes to centre the new HBO Max series on. Gotham PD begins shooting this summer, so it will hopefully only be a matter of time before talent begins attaching itself to the cast. There is still no word on when it will release, although the hope is that it will be close to March 2022 release of Batman, the Batman, no matter how the details turn out. It's exciting to know that things are starting to come together for this intriguing new DCEU series. Yeah, I'm excited about everything the Batman and for this Earth 2 to be expanded, because I do expect Earth 2 to be the place, the central place for the DC Extended Universe to expand. So is Snyder's universe remaining in Earth 1? We'll find out after Flashpoint. Finally today, the Flash's Jay Garrick to appear in Stargirl Season 2. I haven't even seen the entirety of Season 1 yet, but this is exciting. John Wesley Shipp, who plays Jay Garrick on The Flash, will be guest starring as a new version of the Golden Age Flash in Stargirl Season 2. You see, this is what a multiverse can do. It can get the same actor playing a different character, and that's awesome. The Flash's Jay Garrick, actor John Wesley Shipp, is confirmed to appear on Stargirl Season 2. One of the new additions to the DC TV franchise last year was Stargirl starring Breck Basinger as Courtney Whitmore. As the first season followed her origin story of becoming the titular hero, it also saw the revival of the Justice Society of America. While it initially began as a DC Universe series, it also aired on the CW at the same time. In a special agreement between the two platforms, however, for Stargirl Season 2, it will officially be a CW exclusive, as the show is set to return sometime this year. Prior to debuting, Stargirl was established to exist on its own Earth while still existing in the Arrowverse through Crisis on Infinite Earths. Oliver Queen ended up rebooting the multiverse as the Spectre, but not only did he create Earth Prime, where most of the DC CW heroes live, but he rebooted the multiverse layout too. Prior to the crossover, Earth 2 was the home of Harry Wells and Jesse Quick before being destroyed by the Anti-Monitor. Now it exists as the home of Stargirl, and it appears that the CW is finally having the show crossover with the Arrowverse. Now, you've got to understand something. Even though here the journalist, the author of this article, has explained about Earth 1s and Earth 2s, once we get to Flashpoint and they do whatever they're going to do with that movie, there will be an order, there will be a new order. Because to say that this is Earth 1 or the Arrowverse is Earth 1 doesn't make much sense when you've got the Snyderverse, you've got the Earth 2 from the DCEU as well, which will house the Batman and probably J.J. Abrams' brand new Superman project as well. There's going to have to be a complete order and numbered universes so people don't get confused. As reported by Entertainment Weekly, Shipp, who played the Flash in his own series in the 90s and currently Jay Garrick in the Arrowverse, is slated to appear on Stargirl. The CW has revealed that he will appear in the 9th episode of Stargirl Season 2 in a pivotal flashback episode focusing on the original JSA. Wow, that's amazing. Whether or not this will be a retroactively changed version of Shipp's Earth 3, Jay remains to be seen, as he hasn't appeared on Earth Prime post-Crisis. However, EW does describe that this will establish him as officially being the Golden Age Flash of Earth 2, something that the universe didn't have before. So this is very, very exciting, and this is why the whole multiverse strategy is so important. In many ways, this does make a lot of sense for the Arrowverse to do in a post-Crisis world. It was always a bit off that Jay came from Earth 3, which best known as the home of the crime syndicate of America is the DC Law. Thanks for Crisis on Infinite Earths, the creators behind all the shows got a fresh new chance at changing various aspects of their DC universe. To have Shipp play Jay from Earth 2 lines up more with the comics and also gives Stargirl a new connection to Arrowverse through the Flash. This might have been the original plan for the Flash and Stargirl crossover that almost happened last season. The Flash Season 7 is premiering in less than 2 weeks, and perhaps they will foreshadow the coming Stargirl crossover. But given that he's meant to appear in flashbacks, it might imply that Jay is actually dead on Earth 2 in the present time. It was heavily implied that he, along with several other JSA members, had died during their final battle with the Injustice Society. But it's always plausible that there can be a twist to it, similarly to how Joel McHale's Sylvester Pemberton showed up in Stargirl Season 1 finale. Stargirl Season 2 has yet to receive a premiere date, but this is a big episode to look forward to, with John Wesley Shipp's Jay Garrick showing up. Brilliant. One of the things we can all say, and I have mixed feelings about Arrowverse all the way through it, I think the first 2 seasons of Arrow and The Flash were exceptional, And I'm happy that the guy who was in charge of The Flash season 1 and 2 is running Superman and Lois. Really excited to see that. Next Wednesday, I think I'm going to be able to. We will review it here on Big Mouth. Very exciting. But one of the positives about Arrowverse has always been the multiverse that they've done. Now, because everything's changing and Walter Hamada and Jim Lee are designing this multiverse strategy, you can't just talk about Arrowverse anymore. It's all universes will affect other universes. So as I say, the numbers of the universes, where the Snyderverse is, what happens to the Snyderverse in Flashpoint. You know, they could do something shitty like say that the Snyderverse vanished within Flashpoint, during Flashpoint. There's a lot of things they could do. I hope they don't do that. But that could make it an Elseworld, and it could make Zack's job a lot easier over on HBO Max not to have to connect to the other Earths. But, you know, Flashpoint has started production now, filming very soon, I think around April, like a few other DC projects as well. So, look, it's very, very, very exciting, and the future is bright for DC live action. Me personally, I think the multiverse strategy is a great idea, but also I'm a Zack Snyder DC Universe fan as well. We're going to get it all. I don't want you to worry. I don't want your anxiety to raise. DC live action is about positivity now, and I'm very, very sure we've got lots to look forward to as DC fans. So comment down below, like, share and subscribe. And if you like me, if you like what I do, please share the content. Thank you, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.